Hey guys, how are you today? I hope you guys are all good. Hope you guys are all having a good day. So let's get into it now. Let's get into my preview of the French Open quarterfinals. Hope you guys are ready. First, I just want to talk about Roger Federer, right? What's happened with him? Like he played 3 matches and he's pulled out, right? Am I for it or against it? Well, first of all, I think this is what he wanted all along. Like to play a match or two in Geneva, then have a week off so he can recover from just starting back his comeback, then get 3 matches at the French Open. He really wouldn't want to play clay at all, but because if he leaves it for the grass, he's got to play like 4 weeks in a row. So he didn't want to do that. He wanted to ease himself into it. If he wants to play before 2 weeks before the French Open, because there's only like 3 weeks or so before, and have more time to get into, he's got to play clay. So his ideal was, I want to play matches, but I want to be more on a grass court than clay, right? So to play 1 match in Geneva, or 2, hopefully, if he won, then have a rest of a week, then build up further 3 matches at the French Open at Roland Garros. Now he's maybe a little bit tired because it's 3 best-of-5 set matches. Got your match fitness, but now you need a bit of a rest again. Then after that, a week's rest after that, you've got 3 matches plus the match in Geneva. You got your 4 matches. You got your week off, so you're fresh now. You can really give the grass court tournament in Halle everything you have. Hopefully win it, make the final, at least the semi-final. 4 or 5 matches there. And then if you're a bit tired after that, you get another week off, and now you're really ready to peak at Wimbledon. That was his whole idea. Play a week at Geneva, a week off, have a bit more in Roland Garros and have another week off, and then hopefully have the full 5 matches in Halle and then another week off and then peak at Wimbledon. So he's just used the French Open. He knew all along. He probably said, if I win my matches easily, I want 4 matches. If there are hard matches, I want 3. But either way, whether it's 3 or 4 matches, depending on how long my matches are at the French Open, it's just a warm-up. He said the goal is Wimbledon. It's not Roland Garros. So that's what this whole debacle is about. It's about Federer had planned that, to play a week in Geneva, a week off, and then get a bit more in Roland Garros. A week off, you got your matches, you're fresh, you play Halle, throw everything into that. And then if you're a bit tired, you get a week off after that, and then you're really ready for the 2 weeks at Wimbledon. Everything was a practice until Wimbledon to get him in the best shape. And yes, he's used another Grand Slam, Roland Garros, the French Open, as a warm-up, knowing that he wants to play 3 or 4 matches, depending on if the matches are all straight sets or longer and harder matches. And since they were longer, harder matches, he said, I've got my 3 matches, I've got my match fitness, and then I've got a week off now, and I'll go into Halle with match fitness, but also fresh. And then he can give that everything and then get another week off. And then he's really 100% for Wimbledon. That's how he's planned it. Wimbledon's been the goal, and he's used the French Open as a warm-up. That's a fact. So what I want to say about that is Roger Federer, like, I really think that he's disrespected like a Grand Slam. You can't just use it as a warm-up. You should, if you're in it, you should be there to play your best. I know he has a better chance of Wimbledon. I know he's thinking, what if he keeps playing? Maybe makes a semi-final, quarter-final, gets a beat down against Nadal or Djokovic. What's the point? And then now I played a lot. I need more time off, and there's only 2 weeks between the French and Wimbledon. So I don't really like, how am I going to play a grass court event now? And then that's going to affect Wimbledon. But when if he plays just a bit in Geneva and then a week off and then the 3 matches here and then a week off and then he's fresh, match fitness going into Halle, good week there and then a week off again and then really ready for Wimbledon. He wants it that way, and he's planned it that way, and he's used the French Open. He's gamed the French Open. He's used it as a warm-up. But if he wants to use other tournaments as a warm-up, okay. But I don't think he should be using a Grand Slam as a warm-up. I think he should say, well, what do I want to do? If I want to win Wimbledon, you don't go. So maybe play other ones, right? He could have played in after Geneva. He could have played. There's a 250 the next week in Italy or Serbia. He could have played there and take the time off during Roland Garros. He could have even played then in Stuttgart and Halle. He got 2 in grass and then had a week off. He didn't need to go to the French Open. If he knew he didn't have a chance and he was all about Wimbledon, he shouldn't have just simply said, I'm going to the French Open to play 3 or 4 matches, depending on how long the matches are. But then either way, I'm retiring from the tournament. I'm not trying to win. That's going to put me in the best shape to win Wimbledon. I don't think Federer, with his history of 20 Grand Slams and the history of the French Open, I don't think he should have just played around with that. And I think he should have either said, I'm either trying to win it or I'm not going in. And I'll get my match fitness another way, which I suggested that there are other ways. So Federer's just went in and said, for me, I'm using a Grand Slam, the French Open, as a warm-up, and I'm playing either 3 or 4 matches and retiring, unless someone beats me. For me, to do that with a Grand Slam, to use it as a warm-up for another Grand Slam, it's the wrong thing to do, right? If you want to make it about Wimbledon, fine, don't play the French Open. Either play it to win or don't play, but to just go and say, I'm going there for 3 or 4 matches, and all the history of Grand Slams, how important they are to the game, how important Federer's history is for the game. For Federer to just say, I just want 3 or 4 matches and retire, and know that from the beginning, which is the reality. He would have played 1 more if he had easy matches and made it 4. But it was never going to be more than 4 matches, right? So I feel like Federer's played everyone. He's not taken seriously the history of the game, where there are 4 Grand Slams a year. They're very important. His history to the game is important. And to just say, I'm going to simply play to win or not play and get my warm-ups another way. So I just think he's been self-centered here. And he said it's all about me. And he's just said, I don't care about Grand Slams, the importance, the history of the game, my importance. It suits me to get 3 matches there, or 4, for my Wimbledon preparations. So I'm just going to forget all of that and just do me. So for me, I'm against what Roger's done. But and I've explained why he's done it, what the logic behind it is. You can understand it in a way, but there were other ways he could have prepared for Wimbledon. He could have also prepared for Wimbledon by playing the French Open to win, and then when he loses or whatever, then work out his preparations, or saying, I'm not willing to take that risk that I may go too far and play too much, so I'm not going to play. But he's just not done either, and he's just taken the French Open as a joke, a place where you play 3 to 4 matches and retire. So I'm against that. You guys can tell me what you think in the comments, but that's my opinion why he's done it. It was a good or a bad thing. Let's get on to the preview of the French Open quarterfinals. Now we've spoke and dealt with the Roger Federer issue. So what I want to say is, and also I'm really going to try to get Federer on here as an interview, just so I can understand why he's done it and get in his head. I'm also hoping if Nadal wins the French Open, gets to Grand Slam 21, I'm going to get an interview with that. So be here in the future for this channel for those things. But anyway, the quarterfinal preview. Looking at Nadal's level, I found like he's been a bit like up and down. I felt like his first round against Popyrin, he was a bit inconsistent. Good moments, bad moments. Gasquet, his second round played 1 amazing set. Second and third was again up and down. Third round against Cameron Norrie. Start of the match, first half, again up and down a bit. Second half of the match, he really played the high level of Nadal at the French Open we all know. And he just did that consistently through the second half of the match. First half of the match, some inconsistency. But I thought now he'd found his game midway through the match until the end. So I thought that's it. He won't be beaten, right? So then I thought, like, from there on, you would see just this unbeatable level all the time from Rafa. So looking into his fourth round against Sinner, he again starts the way he does against Norrie. But again, in the second half, plays this amazing, unbeatable level. So now I'm like, I thought he had just found it at the midway through the Canberra-Norrie match. It was there for the rest of the match, so I don't understand why now, in the fourth round against Sinner, he started off a bit inconsistent again and waited till mid-match to find his game for the second match in a row. So I don't understand, but he's shown like he's playing in periods where he's just looking unbeatable as normal at the French Open, but there are other moments where he's not looking quite himself. So I don't know what to take from that. But that's my review on Nadal's French Open through to the quarterfinals. Djokovic has just played well, being beaten up with sort of lower-ranked players. His last round against Musetti, like Djokovic had this problem. Musetti can match him, like consistency of shot in the rallies and shot tolerance. He can just do what Djokovic does to him. Great defense. Djokovic does it. He can do it. So now it's the same situation when Djokovic plays Nadal. Both great defenders, both fast, both will get everything back, and both will make a few mistakes. So it just comes down to who has the power to hit that winning shot, plus pass the other guy who's a great defender. And it's Nadal's big forehand that did it. Musetti, the same thing. Matched Djokovic on defense, matched him on the consistency of shot. And it just came down to who's got that one big shot to get through a clay court and a good defense. Like with Nadal, it's that same situation for Nadal's forehand. And Djokovic just doesn't have that big shot to get through a great clay court and a defender who's fast, but Nadal does in their match. So same with this Musetti match. Musetti did the same thing as Nadal does to him. Matched him with defense, getting everything back. Matched him with shot tolerance and consistency and not missing. And then because neither guy are missing and both guys are defending great and getting everything back, again, like the Nadal match, just come down to who can finish the point better with that big, powerful shot to get through a slow court and a great defender. And Musetti has that big forehand as Nadal does. So then Djokovic was in trouble in the first two sets, knowing that, like, what I do about being consistent in the rallies and not missing, you're also doing that to me. When I've got great defense and running everything down, you can't get past me, you're also doing that. But then you have a big forehand in the rally to end the point in a way that I don't. And I can't match you with that power. And I can't just be more consistent and rely on you're going to miss. So it's just two consistent rallies with great defense, but one has a big power shot to end the point and the other guy's missing that. And Djokovic would just be overpowered, and that's it. Same with Nadal. But the difference is he's Musetti, he's not Nadal. So Nadal could keep it up for 5 hours. Musetti couldn't. Musetti just having to physically run down every ball at the level of Djokovic, the shot tolerance, be in long rallies, not miss, and then just have that extra advantage with them mirroring each other and that with a big forehand, which Djokovic doesn't have, and coming over the top in the first two sets like Nadal does to him. But to physically do that, Nadal and Djokovic can stay in that with each other for hours, but he's Musetti. He can't, and he didn't. So he did what Nadal did to Djokovic for 2 sets, but can't maintain it for as long as Nadal. And physically having to go through that, the being in long rallies, not missing, running down every ball, matching Djokovic, and then overpowering him with the forehand. Overpowering him with the forehand if he didn't get that. But anyway, it physically exhausted him and he couldn't keep it up beyond the first 2 sets. That's why it's harder to beat these top guys in best of 5. So in the end, Musetti had nothing left physically. He crumbled. Djokovic was really determined to turn it around. And even though Djokovic doesn't maybe have huge power to get past his defense when it was good, Musetti slowed down, so it was easier for Djokovic to get through the court now. And also Musetti got tired, that's why he slowed down. And also, Djokovic just said it's maybe hard for me to hit outright winners and get through him, but I'm just going to move him around and exhaust the guy and physically break him down, and it worked. And Musetti couldn't play at a level and physically be at a good level, and so Musetti just was physically just outmatched. Couldn't even stay in the rallies. If you can't stay in it, all Djokovic needs to do is stay in the rallies, get everything back, run balls down, move you around, and you physically can't stay with him anymore. And then that's it. Djokovic destroys him from there. So I've went over to Nadal Djokovic's last match. Berrettini got through without having to play. I don't need to go through Federer. Schwartzman won. I haven't seen that one. Zorev got an easy match against Nishikori, just overpowered him. Nishikori with not enough power is making a lot of errors in that one. Tsitsipas beats Pablo Carreño Busta. They're both getting in rallies, but the forehand overpowering Pablo Carreño Busta, then force him to go for too much, making errors. I feel like that was the story with that one. And then Medvedev played the Chilean guy, the guy from Chile. Let me just see his name. Garin, Garin, right? And yeah, I just felt like that. Yeah, I just felt like the Christian Garin, like he didn't really play a good match. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm just going through some statistics. So I just felt like Medvedev, like somehow he's playing on clay like he does on a hard court. I don't know how. And he's just doing his typical normal game and not letting it affect him that it's clay. So he just outmatched Christian Garin. Like they both had good defense. But he had more consistency of shot. He controlled the rally, and Christian Garin was just getting moved around all the time. And when he got fed up, went for too much. And Medvedev's just playing his normal best game on a hard court and probably a bit more power on the shot to get through the clay court. So it's having the same impact. And it's just Medvedev at his best. Garin getting moved around and then not wanting to be pushed around and going for too much. So that's that. So Medvedev, Zorev, Tsitsipas. This Spanish guy, lower ranked Spanish guy, I haven't went through him. No need for that. Davidovich for Kina. So our first quarterfinal will feature Zorev against Davidovich for Kina. This guy, I believe he's ranked around 80 or 100 or somewhere extremely low. For me, it's just going to be like a first round match for Zorev in a slam or a second round. He'll just take care of it in straight sets. He'll move the guy around. He'll have the serve. He'll move him around. It'll be a similar type game to his Nishikori match. Fokina won't want to be pushed around, so we'll have to go for too much, take risks. To end the point, it'll be errors. Then you go back in his consistent rally game. Zorev will be in control. It won't be a match. It'll be straight sets. Just your typical first, second round victory for Zorev, but it's happening in the quarterfinals because he's made it here. So that's your first quarterfinal preview. No need to go too much into that one. The second one, Tsitsipas Medvedev, right? They played at the Australian Open. I think it's like 7-1, or the majority of matches Medvedev has won. Because usually what happens is they both have a serve that's pretty similar. Maybe Tsitsipas is a bit better at shortening the points and attacking, but Medvedev's defense forces him into rallies. Medvedev's got better defense, better consistency of shot, and then matches him on the serve. So as far as starting the point ahead. And then Medvedev's just too good. I'm not aware if they're played on clay or not. but I know that Medvedev has been very poor on clay. Tsitsipas says it's his best surface. He has a huge forehand. He has time to set up and can just hit through any court. Whereas Medvedev's with his shorter, flatter strokes struggles to get through the court on clay. Whereas Tsitsipas now has time to set up and hammer his forehand, which he can hit through any court. So then that sort of changes it where there's the potential. But I would have actually changed my prediction here and went for Medvedev because he's playing great. And the fact that he matches up well against Tsitsipas, he's won almost all of their head-to-head matches. And then the clay is not affecting him. He's playing like he does on a hard court. And he's playing his best now, and he matches up well against Tsitsipas. So the combination of him playing well now and his history with Tsitsipas and the clay not affecting him, I probably would have switched if it was a day game, but at night, it's just going to be that bit much harder for Medvedev to get his shots through the clay court and have an impact. And it's just going to be too much for him. And then it's going to give Tsitsipas all this time to set up, run around, hit forehands. And with all that time, he'll be hitting his forehand at an extreme high rate. He'll be able to get through any court and any defender. And he'll have all the time in the world to just sit up and hammer that thing, right? Whereas Medvedev now will be a very tough situation for his ground shots to impact the court and to actually get through the court, control the rallies, get through Tsitsipas' defense. It's going to be very hard for him playing at night on clay. And then you got Tsitsipas with all that time now to just set up and just hammer forehands and control the rally with his forehand. For me, it's just like I would have went for Medvedev in the day, but it's just too hard for him to just get through the court for Medvedev, and then he'll end up going for too much. And then Tsitsipas too much time to hammer forehands, control rallies with the forehand. I mean, I'll give Medvedev a set because he's playing well, but I'm going to say Tsitsipas is going to take it in 4, simply because Medvedev's not going to be able to get the ball through the court in any kind of a good way. And Tsitsipas will, and Tsitsipas forehand maximum impact, slow court all the time in the world, clay in the night. Tsitsipas is dominating with a forehand, winning it in 4 sets. The one set probably Medvedev will be beating with consistency in defense, and he'll maybe go for a bit too much. But yeah, all the time in the world, dominating with the forehand, he gets through the court and the defense of Medvedev, and Medvedev struggles to get it through the court and even struggles to get it away from Tsitsipas' forehand, because even when he goes to Tsitsipas' backhand, Tsitsipas has time to run around and still hit a forehand. So Tsitsipas is dominating with the forehand, and Medvedev struggles to get it through the court with his shots with a combination of clay and a night match. So 4 sets to Tsitsipas. So that's our second quarterfinal. So now let's go to the third and fourth quarterfinal. We don't know which will be played because the schedule's not out. So I'll just pick one. Oh, yeah, Djokovic, Berrettini. I just think like Berrettini wants to dominate with his serve and attack and shorten the points, right? Djokovic loves playing a player that depends too much on their serve and force them into rallies where they're not comfortable, right? So on any court, he does that because his return is so great and he takes away the advantage of the big serve and forces them to rally to hold serve. On clay, it slows down the serve. So Djokovic is going to get even more time to get even more returns. So he's going to force Berrettini into rallies, right? And then in the rally, Berrettini's going to want to attack, end the point, and take risks. Well, they're going to be more 50-50 points. They're going to be more times where he's going to have to take risks. Djokovic's defense is going to be too good, so he's going to have to go too hard, too close to the line. And the combination of it being clay and Djokovic having great defense and Djokovic having even more time to get to the balls because it's on clay, then he's now going to have to go even harder and even closer to the line. And then Djokovic's defense is going to be very hard for him to get through. And if he can't get through it, he's stuck into rallies. He doesn't have the movement. Djokovic moves him around, exposes his movement. Djokovic has no problem getting through a clay court in the rallies because Berrettini's so slow. So Djokovic's lack of power is substituted by Berrettini getting slow to the ball. So now Djokovic has got enough power to get through the court simply because Berrettini is a bad mover. And then all the things that Berrettini wants to do, use his serve to shorten the point. Djokovic, great return, having more time to return it, takes that away. Berrettini trying to attack, shorten the points in the rally. Djokovic's great defense and having more time to get to the balls on defense because it's clay. Now means Berrettini stuck in a lot of long rallies. Djokovic is exposing his movement. Berrettini has no hope in such a situation. So now Berrettini's not getting 3 points on the serve, struggles to hit the ball through Djokovic's defense, and is stuck in a lot of long rallies that he can't win because his movement's exposed. So now Berrettini has to go so hard, so close to the line to take risks just to get it through Djokovic's defense in the rallies on a clay court. And then that causes a whole lot of errors. Djokovic just plays consistent, great defense, waits for the errors. When Berrettini says, I won't go for as much, I'll be in the rally, then Djokovic just moves him around, exposes the movement. I'll give Berrettini a set because I just think one game with him just taking risks, hammering it close to the line, they connect. But the rest of the time, he's just getting in too many rallies on his service game because his serve's not got an impact. It's too hard for him to shorten the point because of the clay and Djokovic's defense and having to go for too much, too many errors. And then when he plays it safe, Djokovic just moving him around and exposing his movement. So 4 sets to Djokovic. He moves through to the semi-final. Oh, sorry about that, guys. It's a bit crazy, dusty in the room. So I'm going to now preview our last quarterfinal, Nadal versus Swartz. And now in this kind of a match, they both have great consistency on their shot. They both have great defense. So between two guys who can just say they can be in a long rally and stay in it forever with great consistency. Neither guy is going to miss. Both guys are going to have great shot tolerance. And then when it comes to both guys ending the point, both guys are going to have an amazing defense, particularly Schwartzman. So if you're in a rally where both guys are saying, I've got great consistency, I won't miss, and then the other guy's doing the same thing. Okay, you want to end the point. Both Schwartzman is having great defense, and then Nadal is in great defense. So to me, with no one missing, the point's not ending. And then when you try to end it, the other guy has great defense. The thing for me in this situation, these rallies, who's got more power on their ground stroke shot to end the point and get through a slow court on a great defender. Well, it's Nadal's forehand. That'll be the best shot on the court. He'll dominate the rallies in the with his forehand, and he has time to run around the forehand on the backhand side, and it'll simply be two great defenders, two guys who are really consistent with their shots in the rallies. But then Nadal's big forehand dominating and controlling those rallies and moving Schwartzman around. And that's what's going to determine this match. There are going to be long rallies, great defenders, great consistency of shot, two guys who won't miss, but Nadal's just going to have more power on his rally ball, particularly with Nadal's forehand. And it's going to be like a game where Nadal's just going to dictate the rallies with the forehand and with his power in general. But we'll see good shots because, Schwartzman has great defense. He's going to make Nadal hit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots every time to end the point. But Nadal's going to be willing to come up with it. It won't be decided by easy points because both guys are great defenders. It won't be decided by errors because they don't make it. It'll be who's got more with these consistent shots in the rally with neither guy missing, who's got the more power to end the point. And it's Nadal, particularly Nadal's forehand. And I think Nadal's forehand controls these rallies and overpowers Schwartzman in it. And all 3 sets are close, but I'm saying Nadal will get it in straight sets. He'll be just that bit better at all 3 sets because Schwartzman doing everything he does, and he's doing everything Schwartzman does with the defense and consistency of the shot. But Nadal's just doing it a bit better with the extra power on the ground stroke, so it ends up being rallies that Nadal's in control of. And they're close, but Nadal's just that bit better every single time. So it's straight sets, but it's 3 close sets, like maybe 7-5, 6-4, 6-3. and a lot of juice games, but Nadal just that bit extra because it's two guys mirroring each other with the defense and the consistency in the rally shots, but Nadal's rally shots with more heaviness and power on it, and 3 close sets. But like I said, all the time Nadal's that step just a bit ahead, doing the same sort of game but just a bit better. And all 3 sets, he's just that bit better. He's overpowering him with the rally shots, particularly the forehand. And we're in for 3 close sets, but a straight sets victory for Rafael Nadal. So there you have it. Nadal's moving through, Djokovic is moving through, Zorev's moving through, and Tsitsipas is moving through. So I've got a Zorev Tsitsipas semi-final and Nadal Djokovic semi-final. I'll be back in a couple of days to preview the semi-final. There's both semi-finals actually, so be here for that in a couple of days. Like I said, if Nadal wins the French Open, I'm hoping to interview him about getting to 21 slams. I want to interview Roger Federer about his Wimbledon hopes and what happened with him leaving the French Open and retiring there. So there's a lot coming up in the channel, but definitely in 2 days from now, I'll be back for a semi-final preview. So subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up, guys. Have a great day and night wherever you are, and be back in a couple of days for my semi-final preview. Thanks for being with me, and bye for now, guys. Bye, guys. Thanks for being with me.